Good morning, students. Our today's topic is hormones of heart, kidney, and gastrointestinal tract. You know about the endocrine glands and their hormones. However, hormones are also secreted by some tissues which are not endocrine glands. For example, the atrial wall of our heart secretes a very important peptide hormone. Peptide means protein hormones called atrial natriuretic factor ANF, which decreases blood pressure. When blood pressure is increased, ANF is secreted, which causes dilation of blood vessels. When dilation of blood vessels, their lumen increases. Lumen means inside cavity. This reduces the blood pressure. The juxtaglomerular cells of kidney, these are the cells between efferent arteriole and DCT. Juxtaglomerular cells are present between efferent arteriole and DCT. They produce a peptide hormone called erythropoietin, which stimulates erythropoiesis. What is erythropoiesis? Erythropoiesis is the formation of RBCs, red blood cells. Endocrine cells present in different parts of the gastrointestinal tract secrete four major peptide hormones, namely gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, and gastric inhibitory peptide. Learn the four names. So, function of gastrin is it acts on the gastric gland and stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is a protein digesting enzyme. Secretin acts on the exocrine pancreas and stimulates secretion of water and bicarbonate ions. Cholecystokinin acts on both pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates the secretion of pancreatic enzyme and bile juice respectively. When cholecystokinin acts on pancreas, it helps in the secretion of pancreatic enzyme, and when it acts on gallbladder, it stimulates bile juice. Gastric inhibitory peptide inhibits gastric secretions and motility. Several other non-endocrine tissue secrete hormones called growth factors. These factors are essential for the normal growth of tissues and their repairing or regeneration. Next is mechanism of hormone action. Hormones produce their effects on target tissues by binding to specific proteins called hormone receptors located in the target tissues only. Hormone receptors present on the cell membrane of the target cells are called membrane-bound receptors, and the receptors present inside the target cells are called intracellular receptor, mostly nuclear receptors. So first, hormone combine with the receptor and form hormone receptor complex. The receptors can be present on the cell membrane or inside the nucleus. Binding of the hormone to its receptor leads to the formation of hormone receptor complex. Each receptor is specific to one hormone only, and hence receptors are specific. Each hormone binds to its specific receptor only. Hormone receptor complex formation leads to certain biochemical changes in the target tissue. Then these biochemical changes brings some physiological changes in the cell, and in this way that hormone acts on the cell. On the basis of their chemical nature, hormone can be divided into groups. They can be peptide or protein hormones, steroid hormones, iodothyronin hormones, amino acid derivatives. Learn at least one example of each. Hormones which interact with membrane bound receptors normally do not enter the target cell but generate second messengers which in turn regulate cellular metabolism. Just see the diagram 22.5 below this. In A diagram, receptors are present on the cell membrane. Hormone combines with the receptor and form hormone receptor complex. Then this complex generates one response, that is known as response 1. This response generates a second messenger, cyclic AMP or calcium. So this response produces some biochemical changes in the cell, and that biochemical changes produces some physiological changes in the cell. So first one is showing a protein hormone, and B diagram is showing the steroid hormone. In the steroid hormone, the hormone enters directly into the nucleus and then combines with the DNA and form hormone receptor complex. It multiplies with the DNA, it forms the proteins, and these proteins directly produce a physiological response, changes in the cell. Hormones which interact with membrane bound receptors normally do not enter the target cell but generate second messengers. So protein hormones mainly act on the membrane, they do not go inside but generate the second messengers which in turn regulate cellular metabolism. Hormones which interact with intracellular receptors, that is the receptors which are present in the cell, mostly regulate gene expression or chromosome function by the interaction of the hormone receptor complex within the genome. Genome means haploid set of chromosome is known as genome. So the hormones which enters inside the cell, they combine with the chromosomes and then they bring some physiological changes. Cumulative biochemical actions results in physiological and development effects. तो इसमें मेन क्या है, मेम्ब्रेन पे रिसेप्टर्स प्रेजेंट हैं, हार्मोन रिसेप्टर के साथ कंबाइन करेगा, रिसेप्टर हार्मोन रिसेप्टर कॉम्प्लेक्स बनेगा, उसके बाद एक रिस्पॉन्स जनरेट होगा, उस रिस्पॉन्स की वजह से कोई अंदर बायोकेमिकल चेंजेस प्रोड्यूस होंगी, दैट बायोकेमिकल चेंजेस will bring then physiological response changes in the cell. In case of steroid hormones, the hormones enters directly into the nucleus, combines with the DNA and brings the physiological change in the cell. So in this way, these two hormones act in our cells. I hope this is clear. Thank you.